languages and multitudes and nations and tongues. Can't no other king say that. You know, you got a king over the United States, right? Then you got a king over France. Then you got a king over England here, right? But then you got this king, his dominion carries in all nations and languages and multitudes and tongues. What verse are we?
Verse 36, middle of 36.
Go ahead and read.
And shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done.
Go ahead.
Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all.
Hey, well, this is what Paul wrote in Thessalonians about the coming of the Lord, didn't he? So what time are you reading about? You are reading about the same time. Skip down to verse 41. Because, you know, it's going to be some fighting going on. Because he's going to overthrow some nations. And when you talk about overthrowing nations, you are talking about fighting. You know, the fighting got started. In the Middle East in particular, way back when Israel got kicked out. Now, the fighting is carried on even down to this day. Because you got Edom and Ishmael still fighting over that land over there, right? But then you're going to have fighting going on among the Europeans as well. Go ahead. Now, skip down to verse 41. Go ahead and read.
He shall enter also into the glorious land.
Wait a minute. This is what he's going to do. Well, he's sitting in Rome, right? But he's going to enter into the glory. If he's going to enter into the glorious land, what does that mean? He's going to get up out of Rome and he's going to move into the glorious land. Where is the glorious land? It is Jerusalem. Go ahead and read on.
And many countries shall be overthrown.
Wait a minute. And many countries, it's going to be. So he's going to be doing some fighting then, isn't he? If he's going to overthrow some nations. He's going to come with peace, but he's going to make war. He's going to come with peace. That's why the book said about peace, he shall destroy many. What are they always talking about? Peace. You know, we got to have peace. But he always ready to make war, though. Go ahead and read.
But these shall escape out of his hand.
But he got some that's going to escape out of his hand. Go ahead and read.
Even Edom and Moab and the chief of the children of Ammon.
Wait a minute. You know what this lets you know? You know, you don't hear nothing about no Edom nowadays, do you? You don't hear nothing about no Moab, do you? And you don't hear nothing about the children of Ammon. This is end time stuff you're reading about. But this lets you know they're still around, aren't they? You know what? They just under a different name. You know, you look for Edom. Where's Edom at? Well, I'll tell you where Edom is. He's sitting over there with your name. In your land. And where's Moab? They sitting right there in the land that they always possess with the Arabs ruling over them. Because history tells you that the Arabs came in there and they didn't destroy them. They just took them over. So they still sitting in the land that God gave them. Just somebody else is there ruling over them now. Go ahead and read on.
He shall stretch forth his hand also upon the country, and the land of Egypt shall not escape.
He's going to stretch forth his hand upon the countries, and it said the land of Egypt will not escape. Go ahead and read.
But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver.
Go ahead.
And over all the precious things of Egypt, and the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him.
So now, you know, he's going to be at the doorsteps. It said of the Libyans and the Ethiopians, but tidings out of the east and out of the north will trouble him. Who is the tidings out of the east and out of the north? It is Russia and her allies. Why? Because they are in the camp of Russia. And we got Bible for that too. All you got to do is go and read the 38th and 39th chapter of Ezekiel. And it'll tell you that the Libyans and the Ethiopians, they are in the camp of Russia. So now, however bad you might be, you don't mess with the bad stuff. Back off, buddy. They in my camp. And they going to back off, but now I'm going to go and take it out on somebody else. Go ahead and read up. I can't whoop you, so I'm going to take it out on somebody else. Go ahead and read.
Therefore, he shall go forth with great fury to
destroy.
Says,
therefore, you know, tidings out of the east and the north trouble him. Therefore, he shall go forth with great fury. Go ahead and read.
And utterly to make away with many.
And utterly to make away with many. Go ahead and read.
And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him.
And he's going to come to his end, and none going to help him. What's going to happen to him? Well, the book told you what's going to happen to him in Revelation. The Lord going to put him in the lake of fire. And there ain't nobody who's going to stop that. Okay. Now, let's go to Revelation chapter 9, because you got another power too, and that is the Eastern Bloc nation. And they have an alliance too. You know, we always talk about the European common market, but there's another major power as well, and that is the Eastern Bloc. Brother Obadiah pulled my coat to this organization here. It is called the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or the SCO. And just show you some of the nations. You have member states. And guess who is in the member states? China. That's a lot of people. Russia. There she sits. Then they name some others here as well. Then you have observer states. And guess who sits as one of the observer states? Iran. And the Bible tells you in the 38th and 39th chapter of Ezekiel that Iran going to be in the camp of the battle. And she's sitting there right where she's supposed to be. Then they name India, and they name Mongolia, and they name Pakistan. Well, we know Pakistan is nuclear. I think Iran got it. If they ain't, they trying very hard to get it. Russia got it. Russia always telling you about how many times they can destroy the world over again with all their nuclear weapons. And if China don't have it, they will have it before long, because they're going to purchase it, because they don't want to make all the money nowadays. You might not know it, but Chinese own a big piece of the United States nowadays. United States is heavily indebted to China. So just like you have a Western bloc, you got an Eastern bloc as well. Because that's what this thing going to come down to, the East against the West. Let's go and read something here. Let's go to Revelation chapter 9, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Revelation 9, we'll pick it up at verse 1. 9 and 1. 9 and 1. Okay, when you get it, go ahead and read.
And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit.
Now you know this star that fell from heaven with the key to the bottomless pit, that is Satan. And you know what was in the bottomless pit. Who came up out of the bottomless pit? Rome came up out of the bottomless pit, didn't it? You know, we read that in the 17th chapter. Go ahead and read that next verse.
And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit.
Go ahead.
As the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit.
That is the Western power there. Now, let's skip down to verse 13, and we'll pick up the Eastern power. Go ahead and read.
And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns.
Well, what was 7 angels? So, you know, when you get down to the sixth one, you're drawing close to the coming of the Lord here now, aren't you? Now, he said, and the sixth angel sounded. Go ahead and read.
And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar which is before God, saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates.
Now he said, loose the 4 angels that are bound in the great river Euphrates here. You got Russia sitting up here in the northeast. Then you got Jerusalem sitting down here where the man done moved to. He done moved down there. Now, and you got the Euphrates River separating them. So now, in order, if he going to come down here and make war, he got to come across the Euphrates River somewhere, doesn't he? And he said, I saw the, what did he say? Read that verse again.
Saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet.
And go ahead and read. That's it. Go ahead and read. Saying to the sixth angel that had the trumpet. Go ahead and read.
Loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates.
Now he said, loose the 4 angels that are bound in the great river Euphrates. Go ahead and read.
And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the 3rd part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000.
Well, I can see how you can come up with an army of 200,000. Especially when you got Russia sitting there, and you got China sitting there. And India, when you talk about numbers of people, India ain't show-stopping itself. Then you got all these other countries here. You got Iran, and you got Mongolia, and Pakistan, and some of these Kazakhstans, and some of these other stands here that I can't pronounce, that I ain't even bothering trying to pronounce. There's a bunch of them.